The Decay of Lying. The Decay of Lying. An Observation. Is an essay by Oscar Wilde. Included in his collection of essays titled Intentions. Published in 1891. This is a significantly revised version of the article that first appeared in the January 1889 issue of the 19th Century. The Decay of Lying delivers the complete text of an essay. Within a dialogue between two characters, Cyril and Vivian. Playful banter between the two men and Vivian's tongue-in-cheek article lend a whimsical tone to Wilde's promotion of romanticism over realism. Wilde presents the essay in a Socratic dialogue with Vivian and Cyril, two characters named after his own sons. Their conversation, though playful and whimsical, promotes Wilde's view of romanticism over realism. Vivian tells Cyril of an article he has been writing called The Decay of Lying, a protest. According to Vivian, the decay of lying, as an art, a science, and a social pleasure, is responsible for the decline of modern literature, which is excessively concerned with the representation of facts and social reality. He writes, if something cannot be done to check, or at least to modify, our monstrous worship of facts, art will become sterile and beauty will pass away from the land. Moreover, Vivian defends the idea that life imitates art far more than vice versa. Nature, he argues, is no less an imitation of art than life. Vivian also contends that art is never representative of a time or place. Rather, the highest art rejects the burden of the human spirit. She develops purely on her own lines. She is not symbolic of any age. Vivian thus defends aestheticism and the concept of art for art's sake. At Cyril's behest, Vivian briefly summarizes the doctrines of the new aesthetics in the following terms. Art never expresses anything but itself. All bad art comes from returning to life and nature, and elevating them into ideals. Life imitates art far more than art imitates life. It follows as a corollary that external nature also imitates art. Lying, the telling of beautiful untrue things, is the proper aim of art. Though teasingly provocative and mischievously impassioned, Vivian's essay has a clear, direct structure and concludes with a precise summary. Wilde ends Vivian's dialogue with quotes from poems by Alfred Lord Tennyson and William Blake. The quotations apply the third and fourth doctrines to the proposed action of the piece. The second doctrine is this: all bad art comes from returning to life and nature, and elevating them into ideals. Life and nature may sometimes be used as part of art's rough material, but before they are of any real service to art they must be translated into artistic conventions. The moment art surrenders its imaginative medium, it surrenders everything. As a method, realism is a complete failure. And the two things that every artist should avoid are modernity of form and modernity of subject matter. To us, who live in the 19th century, any century is a suitable subject for art except our own. The only beautiful things are the things that do not concern us. It is, to have the pleasure of quoting myself, exactly because Hecuba is nothing to us that her sorrows are so suitable a motive for a tragedy. Besides, it is only the modern that ever becomes old-fashioned. M. Zola sits down to give us a picture of the Second Empire. Who cares for the Second Empire now? It is out of date. Life goes faster than realism, but romanticism is always in front of life. The third doctrine is that life imitates art far more than art imitates life. This results not merely from life's imitative instinct, but from the fact that the self-conscious aim of life is to find expression, and that art offers it certain beautiful forms through which it may realize that energy. It is a theory that has never been put forward before, but it is extremely fruitful, and throws an entirely new light upon the history of art. It follows, as a corollary from this, that external nature also imitates art. The only effects that she can show us are effects that we have already seen through poetry, or in paintings. This is the secret of nature's charm, as well as the explanation of nature's weakness. The final revelation is that lying, the telling of beautiful untrue things, is the proper aim of art. But of this I think I have spoken at sufficient length. And now let us go out on the terrace, where droops the milk-white peacock like a ghost, while the evening star washes the dusk with silver. At twilight nature becomes a wonderfully suggestive effect, and is not without loveliness, though perhaps its chief use is to illustrate quotations from the poets. Come. We have talked long enough. Wilde's character Vivian assumes authority through declarative statements. His command of the argument extends beyond his article to his friendship with Cyril. In the last paragraph of the story, Vivian, transitioning between the world of academic pursuits and the social sphere, commands come. We have talked long enough. Closing the discussion and presumably taking Cyril outside for another cigarette and a long-awaited rest on the grass. The essay ends with the two characters going outside, as Cyril asked Vivian to do at the beginning of the essay. Vivian finally complies, saying that twilight nature's chief use may be to illustrate quotations from the poets. As Michel Mendelssohn points out, in an era when sociology was still in its infancy. Psychology wasn't yet a discipline, and theories of performativity were still a long way off. Wilde's essay touched on a profound truth about human behavior in social situations. The laws of etiquette governing polite society were, in fact, a mask. Tact was merely an elaborate art of impression management. End of the summary. Thank you. Thank you.